Five-star offensive tackle Felix Ojo has committed to Texas Tech and was believed to be a historic seven-figure deal, believed to be one of the largest fully guaranteed revenue-sharing agreements in college football history, which is incredible. So let's bring in the agents that made this all happen, Rashad, Phillips, and Derrick Shelby from Prestige Management Group. Gentlemen, thank you so very much for joining us. Rashad, let's start with you. Could you confirm the specifics of this deal? It's reported to be about $5.1 million over 3 years.
Sounds about accurate to me. We're very excited to have a wonderful kid and a wonderful family to be able to work with and put him in a situation to go out and play the game that he loves and become a great student athlete at Texas Tech University.
And honestly, it's so fantastic to see the great clientele you guys work with. We were talking about NiJaree Canady on her run of the College World Series in softball for Texas Tech. We were talking about Felix with his deal. What really goes into these historic deals for you guys at Prestige Management to help these athletes set these unprecedented historic record NIL deals?
Yeah, when looking to bring on these types of athletes that we have access to, it's important to kind of forecast who they are and what their abilities are. And then, the numbers part of it is all about the negotiation. But if they do their job, we'll do our job,
Did you guys have an existing relationship with Texas Tech? Because we know the Matador Club specifically is throwing tons of money in their NIL collectives. But the fact that you guys have scored record deals for a lot of clients at this specific university, I think is a big deal.
I'm based in Dallas, right? So I'm in the area a lot. I know how Texas Tech fans are. It's their professional sports there, So prior to NiJaree, I did know some people there. A friend of mine is the GM for the basketball team there. So I kind of knew where some of the bodies were buried out there. So we were able to leverage some of those relationships to help us with these deals.
When you look at those relationships, like the one you have, the existing one with Texas Tech, how do you help your athletes prioritize in terms of the best fit? Sports, academics, NIL opportunities. Rashad, I'll jump this question over to you. What do you guys prioritize in securing these NIL deals when you're helping your athletes?
Well, I think to what Derrick said is that we kind of do our homework really early. In this space that we're in as managers, you have to be able to forecast. You have to be able to study the kid and understand where they will fit and where they'll find their most success. Fortunately for us, the two kids that we have helped that's getting a lot of the notoriety, it's been Texas Tech. We felt like on the softball side with NiJaree, we really loved what the program was, where the program was heading. They had a terrific coaching staff, and they talked to us about allowing NiJaree to play offense and hit the ball. So we that in itself led us to really honing in on that school. And then when you look on the football side with Felix, you look at how teams are trending and where they're going. If you look at the success of Texas Tech over the last year or two, you can see that they're trending in the right direction. They just had a running back drafted in the third round this upcoming draft, and we feel that the most important part of football is what you do in the trenches. So we feel like Felix was the best offensive lineman in the country, and we felt like Texas Tech needed a guy of his caliber, and that's why we placed him there.
This still feels like the Wild West of how these deals are going down, especially for a lot of these college athletes to get these kinds of deals. What advice do you have for college athletes to navigate this environment, and how do they go about finding agents and managers like you to make these deals happen?
Well, man, I think it's easier said than done, right? Everybody who has a high elite athlete should have management. Because with NCAA rules changing every 5 minutes, it's kind of hard to keep track of what's going on. So having someone who's educated in this space is going to be extremely helpful and beneficial for every kid and every family who has to navigate it. These rules are changing daily. The rules changed overnight in June when the House settlement was signed. So if you were not prepared for that, you are behind already. So being able to not only forecast as athletes, but being able to forecast NCAA rules is a job by itself.
Well, let's talk more about that, because from last summer when NiJaree had her historic $1 million plus deal with Texas Tech to transfer over to this season with Felix, massive change in that House settlement. How has NIL versus revenue sharing and really the gaps you guys look to the gas in the areas that you guys look to work around. How does that change for you guys in the NIL landscape? What does that look like now after the House settlement in terms of the deals you're negotiating?
That's a good question, because what a lot of schools are going to do is they're going to use that House settlement cap to lower the numbers. We've seen that with Felix. Some numbers went down overnight based on the House settlement. And I understand that. When you only have 20.5 million that you can spend, football is going to probably get an average of 16 of that million. And there's 105 players, right? So you have to really have a good GM and a good staff to really be able to manage that money. So a lot of the numbers will go down. In Felix's case, Tech stayed the same. So he did not lose anything overnight with the House settlement, and that eventually won out for Felix.
Guys, we have about 60 seconds left with you. Rashad, I'd like to end this with you. Tell us a little bit about how you guys at Prestige Management came to be. How did you guys create this company?
Well, that's a great question. So me and Derrick, we have been kind of doing this for the last 30, 40 years before we put a name on it and a ribbon on it. This is something that holds dear to our hearts. We love to help. We love to be service of others. And when you look at my personal story, I was a All-American in college, basketball All-American. I was a Nate Smith Award winner. And I didn't get anything from NIL or any of that stuff, and I didn't have the right representation. So for me, it's really endeared in my heart to be able to help these kids and maximize that. So me and Derrick, we actually put our brains together and said, hey, let's put a name to what we already been doing for years, and we came up with Prestige Management.
Wow.
Well, congratulations, guys, on all the success that you're having. And by the way, this is probably just the first of many, many, many more exciting deals to come. Thank you guys so very much for joining us.